Hello my friends and welcome to another video. If you don't know me already, I'm Jones and today I have 3 high-protein vegan breakfast recipes for you to try. They're not only tasty but really easy to make. These are recipes that I have found in various cookbooks that I have, and some of them I've tweaked just a little bit, but I will leave the full written recipe in the description box below, as well as links to the cookbooks in case you want to check them out for yourself. I'll also have a link to my free e-cookbook that has even more tasty recipes that are great for a quick and healthy breakfast. And I've even got a vegan protein guide PDF that you can download for free as well. So before we get started, make sure you're subscribed to my channel and hit that notification bell so you get notified every time I post a new video. And with that, let's get cooking. Our first recipe is for a tempeh bacon that is great as a breakfast side or in a sandwich. You'll need some tempeh, of course, and we're going to start by steaming it. I found this bamboo steamer at the Asian market, but if you don't have a steamer, you can also just boil the tempeh. While the tempeh is steaming, we'll make the marinade. I start with half a cup of water, a half a cup of tamari or soy sauce, and the recipe I'm using calls for red wine vinegar, which I do recommend more than the apple cider vinegar I used here. I was out of red wine vinegar. 2 teaspoons of white pepper. I know this seems like a lot of pepper, and it is, but that's what the recipe called for, and it was actually quite good. I wouldn't put this much if I was using black pepper though, it's just different. Add 2 teaspoons of oregano, and here's where I tweaked the recipe a bit because I wanted more of a bacony flavor. So I added some maple syrup and also some liquid smoke, but I don't recommend that. And finally, 2 teaspoons of granulated garlic. When the tempeh is steamed, I cut it into thin slices. I like to do different sizes because the bigger slices go well in a sandwich, but the smaller slices are great as a breakfast side, a little more like bacon strips. Once those are all cut up, place the tempeh in the marinade and cover it. Then put it in the fridge to marinate for at least an hour or overnight. I just like to keep it in the marinade until I'm ready to use it. I like to cook mine in the air fryer, but if you don't have an air fryer, you can fry it in a pan with a little oil or just use a really good non-stick pan. I cook mine at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 8 minutes or until golden brown. Once the tempeh is cooked, you can eat it as part of a nutritious breakfast, or you can make a classic BLT. But why not eat a sandwich for breakfast? I mean, it's like bacon and toast, right? When I was pregnant and vegan, back in the Stone Age, of course, tempeh BLTs were sometimes about all I could eat without getting sick, so I ate them for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, sometimes all in the same day. In any case, who doesn't love a classic BLT? And since this one is plant-based, it just makes it even better. Next, we'll be making some amazing buckwheat pancakes with apple compote. Did you know that half a cup of buckwheat has 10 grams of protein? Of course, buckwheat flour has a little less, but a half cup still has 8 grams of protein, and it's completely gluten-free. This apple compote is optional, of course, but goes particularly well with these pancakes. My family loved the combination, and it's so easy to make. Just cut up a couple of apples into small chunks, then to a small pot, add a little bit of vegan butter and let it melt. Then add some brown sugar and cinnamon and give it all a good stir. Now add the apples Give it a stir to coat them, cover it with a lid, and let that cook down on low heat, stirring occasionally while we make the pancakes. We need to make a couple of flax eggs, which I have made many times on this channel, so I'll link some of those videos in the description box below, but we'll just set that aside while we mix the dry ingredients. We'll sift the flour to make them extra fluffy. I'm using a combination of buckwheat flour and regular flour, like all-purpose flour, but if you want these to be completely gluten-free, just use a gluten-free all-purpose flour instead. We'll add some baking powder and some salt, and a 1/4 cup of sugar. Give that a quick stir, and then we'll add the flax eggs, the melted vegan butter, and some plant-based milk of your choice. Stir well, but no need to get rid of all the little lumps. Scoop a 1/4 cup to a 1/2 cup of the batter, depending on how big you want them, onto a hot skillet. When the pancakes get nice and bubbly, it's time to flip them. Top them with the apple compote, maple syrup, and a dash of cinnamon. If you want to add even more protein, top with some nut butter or vegan yogurt and add some tempeh bacon on the side. These pancakes are so good, they just might become your go-to pancake recipe. The last recipe is for a potato frittata. We'll be using tofu for this one, so you want to rinse and drain a block of tofu. No need to press it, but we will give it a squeeze to get rid of some of the excess water. We'll add 1 tablespoon cornstarch, 2 tablespoons nutritional yeast, a 1/2 teaspoon onion powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric, a 1/2 teaspoon dried basil, and 1 tablespoon of unsweetened plant-based milk. Blend it all up until smooth. Next, we'll add a little oil to a hot pan and we'll saute up some onions, mushrooms, bell peppers, and spinach. Once everything is softened up, just set it aside. We'll use the same pan to cook our potatoes. Slice the potatoes into thin circles. These ones I had pre-steamed and I had them in the fridge, so they cook a little faster, but they don't have to be pre-cooked. Just make sure they're cut really thin. Just stir to cover them with the oil and then spread them out evenly in the pan. If you don't have a cast iron skillet, you'll need to saute your vegetables in a regular pan, and then everything will get transferred into a baking dish, like a large pie pan, or you could use a square baking dish if that's all you have. Otherwise, if you have a cast iron pan, we'll just cook everything right in the pan. And we'll add the veggies in a layer, and then spread the tofu mixture on top. I like to add a little paprika on top before covering with a lid, or you could use foil instead, putting it in the oven at 375 degrees for 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, remove the lid and bake for another 10 minutes. This frittata was very good and a great breakfast item. Definitely got lots of protein in it. But I have a recipe for a tofu quiche that I've been making for years that I actually like a little bit better. The main difference is that the frittata has potatoes instead of a crust, which is certainly a lot healthier, but what can I say? I love pie crust. I'll leave a link to that recipe in the description box in case you're a crust lover too. So that's it. There's 3 high-protein vegan recipes that you can eat for breakfast or lunch or dinner or any time of day. I hope that you'll try one or maybe all of these recipes. They're so good. They're such a delicious way to get plenty of vegan protein in your diet. Who knew it could be so easy? If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Be sure to check out those links below for the recipes, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, peace out. Bye!